Welcome. Day one of the NBA playoffs is in the books. We got a special kind of limited edition of the Lord 3 LR3D TV and Ignorant Takes podcast. Jabron
It
is
said
an old man.
LRE3D.
My bad.
L3RD
Here we
TV.
go, man.
L3.
L3RD TV. Ignorant Takes podcast as always. Uh, Brian won't be joining us tonight because he's an old man. He said he can't hang. Too late for him. But we'll see him tomorrow. Look out for both these episodes. We'll be doing kind of reactions, pretty much following more so the Lakers Timberwolves series, but we'll be looking to do kind of reactions every night, all the way through the finals. So let's go ahead and get into it, Lamar. Man, first off, good evening. How we doing? How are you
Good
feeling?
evening. Good evening. Good night. Good night. Almost about to be 12 in the morning over here in Florida, where I'm residing. So it's chilling. Kids are asleep. So we good. We good now.
Nah,
We live in effect. The party's starting now.
hell yeah.
Kids are asleep. It's the real party time.
MJ's in there crying right now. She's getting ready to put him to bed though. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into the first game. We'll just flow through the games as they were played through the day. So, Milwaukee, Indiana was a bit of a blowout. I think we all said it's going to be tough for the Bucks to beat the Pacers without having Dame. Um, it did. I mean, it obviously clearly looked that way, but it looks like Dame is chomping at the bits. I don't know if you caught the end of that, where him and
Yep.
Hallie were kind of going at it, and I could lip read. I could lip read a little bit, and Dame said, "I'm coming to bust your ass, and you're soft." So,
Hmm?
uh, Dame is usually not one to initiate shit talking. He'll meet you with it though, but he's more of the. It comes to him and he addresses it accordingly. So I'm kind of excited. I mean, this is a big rivalry, especially over the last couple years, last few years. The Bucks and the Pacers, they're in the same division. They see each other 4 times a year. So this is. I mean, this is kind of like, if we're in football terms, this is kind of like Minnesota running into Detroit, Chicago, or the Packers in the playoffs. So um, so this is exciting, man. It's hopefully going to make for good basketball. I love a good rivalry, um, especially when the stars are aligned. Um, my our predictions together it really came down to Hallie was probably gonna have to score. He didn't really do a lot of it. He's got 10, but he had 12 assists. Um, he didn't shoot. He 0 for 7 from three. But everyone else, Miles Turner got his over 15. Pascal got his number 25, and Nimhard got 17. So they got some help from the bench as well. But when you get those role players like a Turner and Nimhard getting involved, it turns into a game like we saw. So unfortunately, um, Giannis didn't get really any help from his starters. And KPJ had okay game, but nothing like he's had over the last half a month or so. So, because Giannis went for 36, he was the leading scorer in the game. But I mean, when you're the sole offensive guy, you should get 30 plus if everyone else is not getting involved. So, um, the thing that I mentioned was Giannis needed to get his assist numbers. So he only had 1 assist. So if he gets 6 or more, they should be fine. And obviously having one is not enough with 36 points and not enough scoring everywhere else.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of parallels from this game to the last game, which we'll obviously get into later. So Milwaukee, Indiana parallels a lot to the Timberwolves versus Lakers. But yeah, obviously Giannis is always going to get he's probably going to average 32
Mm-hmm.
plus this series. Um, like you said, Dame chomping,
Mm-hmm.
talking that talk to Tyrese. But we've kind of seen Tyrese in these past couple years. He's big shit talker. He definitely be talking the whole game, doing all the gestures. So I wouldn't even say Dame started it. I probably would say Tyrese started it just because
Yeah,
of how
for
he
sure.
is, and he's always barking at the bench,
I agree.
doing every other gesture, and we've kind of seen that over the past couple of years, and then obviously with this rivalry kind of sparking more recently, like you mentioned, probably mostly has to do with the game ball incident. Couple was that last year, I think. It was the last year or the year before
Oh,
that
the
was.
one from
Yeah, it was,
for one of the rookies, right? Yeah, yeah. No, I think it was 2 years ago. With they
yeah.
took the game ball, um, and
No,
said
no, it was
they.
last year
It was last year that
because
happened.
Dame was on the team. Dame was on the
Oh
team.
yeah, so it
Yep,
was last
Dame
year.
was on
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
team.
You're right. You're right.
Mhm.
Yeah, the last year.
So that really kicked it off, and really kind of put
Napalm on it.
like now they circle the game. Both teams circle the games on their calendar.
For
So
sure.
now that they're going against each other in the playoffs, and even more heated atmosphere, you kind of knew this was gonna happen. Obviously, like we had talked about on the breakdown, the predictions on the original podcast last week.
Hmm.
It's gonna be tough for Milwaukee without Dame, but with him coming back, I still think he's gonna miss his next game. I think he'll wait till Milwaukee. I think they're gonna play it safe, try to get him a little bit more conditioned, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna assume he hasn't been able to kind of go full force. Obviously, with that blood clot situation, him
Yep.
taking those pills, those blood thinning pills.
Hmm.
I'm sure he hasn't really been able to play 5-on-5 or anything like that. So I think they'll give him another game and then have him ready to go
Yeah.
at home in Milwaukee. But you mentioned it. Your starters give you nothing outside of Giannis. You got Kuzma putting up the classic Tony Snell performance 0-0-0-0-0-0. Like, what are we
Nothing.
doing here?
Was out there
What's
running.
like got cardio? Like this man, he should have just went to the gym, got on the treadmill if he wanted to do that. Like, what are
Yeah,
we doing?
for sure.
So nobody's offering anything. It's going to be tough. Indiana's very good at home. We mentioned that on the podcast as well.
Hmm.
One of the better home teams in the league over the past couple of years as well. We saw it last year in the playoffs. They, I think, only lost like 1 or 2 games that entire
And that
playoffs
was to the Celtics, I
series.
think.
And I
Or
think, yeah, it
yeah,
was
they lost to they
one.
lost.
It was one. It was 1 2. No, they lost. I think 3 or 4 total because I know they went to a game 7
Knicks.
against the Knicks.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think they lost like the 3 or 4 in total last year's playoff. So we know that they're really good at home. They protect home court. Their
Hmm.
fans, show out. Hoosier basketball, Indiana City.
Yeah.
You know how they get down.
Yeah, yeah, for
So
sure.
they're gonna come through. So it was always
Because
gonna
ain't
be
shit to
a,
do in
a
Indiana.
tough game. Ain't nothing to do.
Besides go to basketball games. That's why
Go,
they
let's
sell
go
out for
see
the
our basketball
Fever
game.
and the Pacers and the Colts, obviously, but because they ain't not a nothing to do in Indiana. Boy. It ain't nothing, and we know we speak from experience because we used to live there. So
We used to live there.
anyway, yeah, you can't have a nothing burger. Especially Kyle Kuzma has to be with Dame out. Kyle Kuzma has to be the second leading scorer of the starters. Uh, should get his. He should be the leading scorer off the bench for the Bucks. So he's got to get his. So he's got to do better than 12 points. I mean, he was the third best scorer, fourth best scorer in the game. Or sorry, for the Bucks in there. But yeah, they need a lot of help. I mean, Kyle Kuzma can't go 0 for 5. And it wasn't like he was shooting. I think he shot one really contested shot. It was like a grenade, but other than that, he shot basically 4 either limited contested or no contested. So he has to be better than that. Yeah, but with Dame coming back, I agree. I know they said he was going to probably be back on the 21st, but we know that there's a difference between being in shape and being in basketball shape. I'm pretty sure he's definitely in shape. I'm pretty sure they were allowing him to do some type of fitness stuff to work out. It's not like he's just sitting down or like you got to have some activity, make sure the blood is flowing. Um, and nothing worse for a blood clot than, especially in the leg, than be sitting down all the time. Uh, so yeah, I'm pretty sure he was somewhat active. Maybe not as extreme as like a in season activity, but getting some pump. But he's gonna have to get in game shape, and hopefully it's a quick turnaround because they're gonna need him. I think this is definitely gonna be a 7 game series. I think we all predicted this is gonna be highly contested
6 or 7, yeah.
game series. So it's exciting. It's good for basketball. I love a good rivalry. I think most casual fans definitely love a good rivalry, but us basketball like just tryhards, we really live for a either a highly contested series or even better, a highly contested rivalry series. So that's what this looks to be making. So hopefully not too many blowouts. Maybe Bucks get them back and blow out one game, and the rest of the games are within 10 points. So that'll be nice. But other than that, hopefully we get better basketball out of the Bucks. Outside of Giannis, of course. Giannis played his ass off. So all right, let's move on to the game of the night which was the second game of the night, which was Clippers Nuggets. Clippers got out to a really fast start. If I'm not mistaken, they actually held the Nuggets to 0 offensive rebounds in the first half. So, because that's the third quarter is when it turned around, and the Nuggets from there it was like an unstoppable force of just getting offensive rebound after offensive rebound. I know in the podcast in our last episode we talked about the Clippers matchup. Really, they're one of the two teams that match up really well against the Nuggets. The other team obviously being the Timberwolves, just because they're big. They have bigs that do move. Rudy Gobert is not. He's agile, big guy. I wouldn't say he's athletically superior, but he moves the floor for sure. As far as
He's agile
yeah,
enough
he's agile, yeah,
to guard Jokic.
yeah, for sure. And but we saw that like the number. I think if I'm not again I'm not mistaken, the Clippers are the #1 defensive rebounding team in the league. And the Nuggets are top 3 offensive rebounding team in the league. So it makes for an exciting contrast when you have two opposing forces going against it. And I can't give enough credit to Russell Westbrook. He made some huge shots in that second half, and he's a machine. He's always been a machine, but he's definitely top 5 point guard of all time. And the fact that the vast majority of his rebound, I think more than half of his rebounds come from offensive rebounds. He's a good offensive rebounding guard, like a great offensive rebounding guard, and we got to see that tonight.
That engine.
He's a machine, dude, and well-oiled machine. Like he just goes. He doesn't stop. He doesn't quit. He can have a bad play, and he's gonna keep doing him. It's like nothing affects him.
Yep.
Like a continuous confidence booster of his own self. And man, he definitely was a pivotal piece. And I think that was was he yours and Bron's X Factor? I can't remember, but yeah.
I think Jabron might have mentioned it.
Yeah, Westbrook came through pretty heavy, 2 for 6, but the 2 from 3, but the 2 he made were big threes. So to either take the lead or to actually tie the game, I think 1. So yeah, he 4 offensive rebounds out of 8. I mean, so half his rebounds definitely went to the offensive side. So yeah, that's gonna be a series. This one's gonna be fun. This is that, like I mentioned just with the last one. This is gonna be highly contested. This might be a 7-game series as well. Just the way it looks. We already got overtime in the first. It's a 2-point game, and they went to overtime.
Yeah, and I think the Clippers are going to look at this maybe a little disheartening, but also, yeah. But I think they shouldn't look at it like that, because you had a game where you had 20 turnovers and you almost won the game. So really, that should give you confidence of like, dang, if we have 15 turnovers, we win this game.
Yeah,
because two crucial turnovers. One at the towards the end of regulation,
Yep.
um, with like what was it? I think about 45 seconds
Yep.
left.
Under a minute.
Kind of on their last offensive possession, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
You turn the ball over, and then going into overtime, you turn it over to help Nuggets seal the game.
Yeah.
So you take those two turnovers, and like I said, you go from 20 to 15, you probably steal game one.
Yeah.
So you have to look at it with a level of confidence. Okay, like look, we played one of our worst games as far as taking care of the ball, and we still almost won. Now both teams didn't shoot it particularly well. I mean, it took them all the way till overtime to get over the 200 combined mark.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a very good shooting game, but
Yeah.
you
Clippers shot
you
50%. Nuggets shot 43.6. So yeah, it wasn't
yeah.
really
So
50% is pretty is
it's
respectable.
solid.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh, but
But if you don't turn the ball 20 times,
and
that's a
and
dub right there. So
and I think over 10 of those turnovers came in the second half. So
mhm.
actually I don't think they had their yeah I think they didn't get their first turnover till the middle of the second quarter anyway, and probably had a handful by the end of the half. But
Yeah,
I'm pretty confident that at, at least 11 of their 20 turnovers came from the second half. So
second half and overtime. Yep, second half and overtime
yep,
is kind of where they coughed up the game. So
yep,
and then the other thing is like we said, you're gonna need Kawhi Leonard to be the Kawhi. He gives you 22 points tonight, um, 9 of 15 from the floor. So, that's not a bad performance. It's solid. James Harden gives you 32, 11 for 22 from the floor, 4 from 9 from 3.
yeah,
Zubac gives you 21, 13 boards, 10 for 15. Like your numbers are solid. Every starter was over 10 points. Chris Dunn being at 10 points. So, if you're looking at that, that's got to give you a lot of confidence. Um,
and Kawhi's not
Ty
gonna
Lue
have
usually really,
seven.
really,
He's not gonna have 7 turnovers again.
he's not gonna have 7
He's
turnovers.
not gonna
So,
have 7 turnovers again for sure.
and it's gonna help him because um, he looked gassed at the end of that game. He looked gassed. I know he made a couple of plays because it's Kawhi Leonard. He's gonna make a couple of plays
Yeah,
towards the end of the game and in
early.
that overtime.
Mm-hmm.
But he looked
He did.
gassed. He was
You
he
can't
was
have him
you could
gas.
tell he was yeah, you could tell he was like, dang, I haven't played real
Yeah,
playoff basketball healthy in a long time.
yeah.
So
41 minutes
I
out of
think,
him. 43 out of
yeah,
James Harden.
Harden. Yep. So I think looking forward, there's a big chance they could steal game two.
Yeah,
They're gonna have to really just forget that they lost this game because they lost this game. It's not that it wasn't the I wouldn't say Nuggets won this game. I would say Clippers lost this game.
I agree with that.
So they can't really look at it like that. It is what it is. Move on. I would just focus on the things you can focus on. Hey, look, if we don't turn the ball 20 times, we can win this game. So let's take care of the ball. Let's do what we're doing. We match up well. But at the same time, the Nuggets can kind of look at it in that light too of like, hey, we didn't shoot the ball well and we got that win. So if we shoot the ball better,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So I think both teams have
Good
some
takeaways.
some some good takeaways, some shining light,
Mm-hmm.
silver lining
Mm-hmm.
that they can take from this game and going forward. So yeah, definitely going to be a six to seven game series and definitely the most exciting game in the first round from both conferences.
Yeah, my takeaway is slightly different than yours. Like I agree with your points, extremely solid points. But James Harden can't have 22 shots. I understand he had a double double, had 11 assists. But this is one thing that it shows up on the stat sheet because it's misses, but they're really turnovers. When you just take bad shots, especially um, like early in the shot clock, bad shots, and he had a few of those towards the end of quarters, end of the regulation. That those are turnovers to me. When you're helping the defense by taking not only a long and I get it, he shot 50%, 11 for 12, or excuse me, 11 for 22. Shot over 50% from three, 4 for 9, but he can't. No, under 50%. Sorry, that's under 50% from three, and you just can't take early and shot clock shots, semi contested or contested, and then you're not hustling back on defense either. So that's where a lot of those transition points came for the Nuggets to get them back in the game. So I know they don't count on the stat sheet as turnovers, but anybody that plays ball understands that is really helping the defense. So it's basically a turnover anyway. So we can't have that. Like, we can't do that to beat. I understand that was their game to lose, but you do that and they're making their shots, you guys are probably getting blown out.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so super excited. Like, this is good basketball. Great coaches on. Well, I can't say great coaches. We got a great team on both sides. The Clippers definitely have a better coaching staff because they have Ty Lue and then they have Jeff Van Gundy as one of their assistants. So, we'll see.
I don't even know who this interim dude is.
Like, for some reason, it still hasn't clicked in my head that Malone is not the coach.
This was the first time I've ever seen him. When I saw him, I was just like, oh,
yeah.
I didn't even know what you look like. I didn't even know what you look like.
Who is that?
This is my first time even seeing. Yeah, this is my first time even seeing you. Freaking nerd, freaking loser.
Fucking loser. For
Got your pants all high.
Yeah.
God damn it, pull them down a little bit.
I know we're wearing glasses, but goddamn, he looks like a nerd with his glasses. Goddamn. But moving on, man.
Looks like he reads books or something. Fucking loser.
Cosplays as Star Trek or something. Anyway, moving on to the next game, which was a very close game until the end, which was the Pistons Knicks, and I feel the Pistons' immaturity hurt them towards the end of the game. So some boneheaded fouls, just plays in general on both sides of the court, both offensive, defensive. They were leading. I think they had a high lead of 8 at one point in time, and it looked like the Knicks could do nothing with them for a good run or two, and then
pretty much the first 2 quarters, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it was like, ooh.
Oh yeah, they had a 21-0 run in that third quarter.
Yep. Yeah, so it's the third quarter was pivotal for the Pistons. Fourth quarter was 21 for Knicks, but like I said, the experience, and JeBron saying they're a year away, and I agree with that. I think they're truly a year away, but they're so young, and they were still playing. Like, they let some of this stuff get to them, and I mentioned that, like, how ignorant Isaiah Stewart is going to be is going to lead to how well they're gonna be in the game, or how much they're going to be.
I thought he was pretty tame this game.
But the rest of them kind of, like, Cade got out of the character. He was kind of pushing and shoving a little bit, like, just weird on defense.
I think he was more frustrated with his performance than anything.
Yeah. And that could be it. But young fellows, he's coming into his stardom. 21 points, 8 for 21 shooting, 12 assists though. That was one of our points that we all were like, he has to have his assist number still, but he needs to get his 25, 26, 27 points per game for sure.
Got to be at that 27 mark.
Yeah, that 27.
Got to be.
Tobias came out and played 25 points, and then looking at the Knicks, man, they were almost similar to what you mentioned with the Clippers. Outside of Mikal Bridges having 8 points, everyone else was over 12 points. 13 points being the lowest to Josh Hart. Brunson with 34. A lot of those came at the free throw line, like towards the end, but he still got over 30. 23 from Cat, 23 from OG Anunoby, but that was first half. Like, his first half was way better than the second half. So, and then 14 off the bench from Campaign. It's good to see Tibbs actually running his effing bench. Why do you guys have these guys on the team if you're not going to let them play?
It's 3 or 4 players getting over 10 minutes.
Yeah.
4 players getting over 10 minutes from the bench. That's rare for Tibbs.
That's rare for Tibbs. So, and one of those guys went crazy for his NBA career level. We've seen some great games out of Campaign. But as far as what his role is on this team, 14 points, 5 for 7 from the field, three for five, and they were big threes. They were some
Had a
big threes.
couple had a big steal as well.
Mm-hmm.
Big steal and three in the
Yep.
same possession.
Yep.
His only steal of the game was that steal in that fourth
Mm-hmm.
quarter, and then comes down and hits a three,
Yep.
and that possession.
Yeah. So I think the Pistons will be okay. We'll know what the series is going to look like game 2. If they still come out with that fire, which I think they will, and they don't allow a second, really a fourth quarter, because it was tied up after the first. It was a 2-point lead going into halftime in favor of the Knicks. They came out very strong and held the third quarter down in favor of the Pistons, and then they just collapsed in the fourth. So basically, if they don't have that collapse in the fourth, they probably win that game.
Hmm.
So yeah, they can't allow that. So as long as that doesn't transfer over to the next game, I'm still pretty confident in my pick actually, I think we all were like the Pistons should win this. So I'm still pretty confident that the Pistons will win in 5 to 6 games for this series. I think it's going to be a 5-game series either way. So whoever wins tomorrow is probably going to win the series, or not tomorrow.
Yeah, and then
Game 2, excuse me.
yeah, and then even I, both games parallel each other. The first and last game, and then the two middle games parallel. Because going through the stat sheet here, you would like they can't be mad. They had 20 free throws versus 17 from the Knicks.
Yep.
Rebounds, they had 37, 11 of them offensive to the Knicks 36 and 8 being offensive. Blocks 9 and 9. Now the real turning point, 19 turnovers versus 9.
Yeah.
You lost the game in turnovers, and that typically all came in that third and late third going into fourth quarter. You had all those turnovers. Percentage shooting wise, 48 versus 53. From 3-point, you had 47%. You actually made 5 more threes compared to New York's 38%. So you really lost the game due to turnovers, where
Absolutely.
you couldn't get stops towards the end of the game. Kept turning it over. So and a lot of those turnovers weren't even like forced turnovers. They were just bad
Boneheaded bad
passes,
passes. Yep.
boneheaded plays, not running the sets right, like dribbling into players. Like it wasn't even
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, great defense. Like it was just bad offense. So you cut down on those turnovers. So kind of same thing. They can look at it and be like, damn, we threw that game away,
Yep.
and take some confidence. Like if we don't have 19 turnovers, we can win the game. And then the Knicks can look at it like, dang, they pretty much outplayed us in every department, and we won that game. So both teams, similar to the Clippers and Nuggets series, are going to take some silver linings from this game. Now it just comes down to who's really going to buckle in, because you're getting a Jalen Brunson performance out of Jalen Brunson. Like he's giving you what he's been doing in these ever since he was a Knicks, and even a little bit with the Mavs. You kind of already saw what he was about
Before
when
he was
it came to
traded, for
playoff times.
sure. Yeah, and well, no,
Before
not
he was
traded.
traded, so
Before the free agency, which he should have been
the free
signed.
agency. Yep. So yeah, so you already know what time it is with Jalen Brunson.
Yep.
Like you could see it with the Mavs, and as soon as he got in the playoffs with the Knicks, like he's gonna give you 27 plus, close to
For sure.
he that's what he does. That's what he does.
I mean,
So him getting his 34 is light work, but Cade cannot. If you're gonna have superstar versus superstar, you can't get outplayed by 13 points. Like I get it, you had 12 assists, but even Jalen Brunson had 8, so he had 4 more assists than you, or you had 4 more assists than him, but he had 13 more points than you.
Points, yeah. But
So like
but a
that
lot
can't
of that
happen.
came to your point about the turnovers. I mean, if they had 7 fewer turnovers, and I say 7 because 7 of those turnovers led to quick, like coming down the court transition baskets, they win this game by 3. They literally win this game by 3. So it's 6 turnovers. You can't have that many turnovers as a point guard. Jalen Brunson only had 2 or 1. He had 1 turnover. So a 5 turnover differential from the guards and from the stars. So That's essentially
The starting
that's
lineup
10
only
points.
had 5 turnovers total for the Knicks.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, you had more turnovers than the whole opposing starting lineup, and you can't do that.
Hmm.
One as a star, two as the guy who is the primary ball handler. I don't know why Marcus Sasser didn't play. I don't know why he was a coach's decision. He was a healthy scratch. Because Sasser's going to get you some points too off the bench for sure. He's a hustle guy. He's hard. He's a Cougar. He's a Houston Cougar, so he plays D. So I don't understand why. And this is a guard heavy. Like you got to throw bodies at Jalen Brunson. You got to throw bodies at
Hmm.
Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges, who's your three. But you gotta like, and I think Sasser is going to be a good factor in this game in this series, and he didn't get no clock. I don't understand that at all. So
Yeah.
we'll see. But yeah, they hopefully do not allow themselves to be in the dumps after this. We'll know more in game two, especially in
I
that
don't think their
first
coach.
quarter.
I don't think their coach will let them.
No,
He's a very
he's a
he's a
dog
very
of
good
coach.
coach.
Nah, he ain't
Hmm.
finna play that shit. So I don't think they will either. He's gonna get on them though, and hopefully they respond and they make it a series because like I said, I strongly believe that whoever wins game two for this series specifically will wind up winning in 5 games within 5. So, but that's all I got for them. Now let's go to the game of the night. Well, for us, I guess it's game of the night because it's the Lakers. Um, I'm gonna let you go ahead and lead with this
So I
one.
was actually texting going back and forth with Papa Dukes. Yeah, he had called me earlier in the day
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
to see the kids, and so I told him, I said, "Look, man, Luca gonna get 35. There ain't nothing you're gonna be able to do about it. He's gonna get 35."
Okay.
Like, and he said, "Oh, we got Ant, we got Alexander, we got McDaniels." I said, "Pops, did you not see what happened last year? There ain't nothing nobody can do. Like, it's just gonna happen. You gonna have to pray that everybody else don't show up." And that's exactly what happened.
I
Because
don't. They gave you
Luca gave you
37.
37. He had one assist. We've never seen that.
Well,
We've never seen that. Luca don't
but
get
he
one
also
assist.
had
Luca,
5 turnovers though. We don't really see him with
okay.
turnovers like that either.
No. You see him with turnovers. So
Not
he
not not
averages
five
about
though. Not maybe 3.
three to
Yeah,
five.
maybe 3. I'll say he's good for a good 3 because he's a primary ball handler, so he's gonna get 3.
Yeah, but you can. But the thing is, Julius Randle has 7. Like, so,
It's
that's a wash.
Julius
They wash each
Randle.
other. But they wash each other. That's what I'm saying. The turnovers wash each other. So like at that point, it don't even matter. LeBron James having 4 turnovers is probably a little bit more
No, he
like,
turns
huh?
over. He's high in the turnover. He might be top 10 all time turnovers too.
Well, I'm
That's how
saying like
great of a
now. I'm
player he
saying
is.
since Luca got there. I'm saying since
Oh
Luca,
yeah,
because
so
he don't have
Luka's
the
got
ball
because he hasn't
as
had the ball
much.
as much. But yes, 4 turnovers is normal for
So
the fake
my whole
James.
thing with that is he had one assist, but my biggest takeaway was Timberwolves might have burned their best shooting performance in game one
Mm,
because they shot 50%, over 50%, 50% from three,
yep.
51% from the field, which is about average. like 45 to 50 is typically how that goes from the field for most teams. But they're not going to shoot 50%. They hit their team franchise record with 21 threes in a game. McDaniels gives you 25. He's your leading scorer for 25 points. There's too many anomalies. Y'all mentioned DiVincenzo. I told you he ain't getting over 13 points. I already knew. He ain't get. I had already seen this. Like DiVincenzo is not getting over 13 points. We don't care about him. McDaniels having a 25 point performance is an anomaly. He's not getting over 18 the remainder of the series. Julius Randle is probably going to average about that 16 to 20. So I'm not really concerned with him. Now, on the other side of that, Anthony Edwards is probably not going 8 for 22. for the rest of the series.
I have a
But we
bunch
don't
of
know what this
counters to
injury is.
everything you're saying, but
We
keep
don't know
going.
what this injury. We don't know what this little nick or knack that he potentially picked up
That was
because
it
he was
was
grabbing.
no, that was a cramp. It was cramp. It was 100% a
Okay,
cramp.
so
Yeah, he's fine.
so that's good. That's just a cramp. Nas Reed going eight or 6 for 9 from three. I don't know if that's happening again. So you might have just burned your best shooting performance in game one. And like I had mentioned on the pod, Luca specifically is notorious for losing game one.
Mm-hmm.
He's notorious for losing game
Mm-hmm.
one. LeBron is notorious for not playing good in game one because they, it's this whole feeling out, whatever they say about that. But he is notorious for not playing good in game one. So if he had his fill out game and Luca had his one loss and still gave 30, say, he's gonna give 30. Like there's nobody on that team that can guard him. He's gonna get 30. He's probably gonna average 30 plus in this series. Going forward, I think there needs to be some lineup changes. Jackson Hayes needs to play more
I don't know
because
how he
he
only got
protects the
eight
paint.
minutes. That was weird.
I don't know. I don't know how he got 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Like you don't. There's no point to even play
And this is a bigger team. You have to
Gabe
play
Vincent.
big with them.
Exactly. There's no point to even give those extra
Because Minnesota's best lineup is
25
smaller.
minutes.
With Rudy off the court, that's their best lineup. And so if you
But
play
Jackson
small,
Hayes can guard that lineup because he's a quick big man. So and you can kind of put him on a Julius Randle or a McDaniels and kind of
but
have him,
they're not going to play
guarding
that
the
lineup.
paint.
They're not going to play that
They're not
lineup
going to play that.
with
They're not gonna, so like
Rudy's
they
going to be
gave
out
Vincent's
there.
too, Gabe Vincent's too small for this
Oh
game.
yeah, for sure.
For him to get 25 minutes and for Jackson Hayes to only get 8
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really make any sense to me. So I think there were some things, and even like I think JJ will learn just because you have your regular season lineup and how you pull Luca out after the first quarter. Dude has 16. He's burning these boys, and as soon as you took him out the game, Minnesota goes on this run because everybody else is missing shots.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that. You got him. Let him play the second quarter, 3-4 minutes, and then pull him out. But you let them get on. You let Minnesota get on this run because now it's like okay, the kid who's sitting here burning us and is dropping us off, he just got taken out of the game. So now you gave them confidence. So it kind of spiraled from there, and that's kind of when we lost the game was in that second quarter where it started to get away. And I think JJ hopefully will kind of learn like, okay, I can't just use what my minute situation was with the regular season in this playoffs. I really got to play it and how whatever the situation is. So there's a lot in obviously what I just said, and I'm gonna let you counter
Yeah.
to those things. But I think they burned their best shooting. That's my main point. Is I think they burned their best shooting performance of the series in this game.
Sure. So, one, you said 50% is not normal for them. They led the league in 3-point made and 3-point percentage at 50%. They're the only team shooting 50% in the regular season this year. So this is a normal game for them, shooting from three. One of my points from last, because we talked about it, the way that Lakers play their defense is they're allowing people to shoot threes. They're allowing opposing teams to shoot threes. And I had said it. This is why I feel that Minnesota wins this series in 6. They maybe could do it earlier. I'm not gonna like. I agree. I understand that Luka and LeBron. It's their quote unquote worst games, but Luka doesn't lose by 20 something points in his first game. It's usually a 10-point game at maybe a 12-point game at worst, and then it's pretty
They got
close.
blown out. They got blown out against the Thunder in that game one. It
Oh, they
was about
did. Fair
20
point.
points.
But these are anomalies. This is a
And then
whole
they got
different.
crushed in game two.
But
They crushed them.
this is a whole different. This is a whole different team. Like the Thunder are the youngest team in the NBA still. They're even younger
The
than the
Thunder are a
Pistons.
better team than the Wolves, and their defense is better.
They're not a better team than the Wolves because they haven't proven that. On paper, they may look like a better team than the Wolves, but they're not a better team than the Wolves. But maybe that's me being a homer. So
I was gonna say I think they won the series 3-1 against them this
no, it
year.
was 2-2. It's 2-2. They split the series, and they split the series home and aways. So Thunder went 1-1
One
at
went home.
home. Women was 1-1 in Minnesota. But With Anthony being out, Anthony Edwards being out, it definitely. I mean, they were up enough that it didn't really matter too much, but it was a cramp because he was pulling up on it, and they even talked about it on the broadcast. Like I was like, ooh, when I looked at him doing it, and then when I seen him pull his toes up, I was like, oh, it's a cramp. I was like, okay, it's fine, it's a cramp because I thought he was grabbing at the calf. Had he been grabbing at the calf, I would have been like, oh, he
Yeah,
pulled
some
a
touched
muscle
that because that's
there
what he touched at the calf
first, and then
first,
he
and
went
then
to
he
the
went to
toe
his
to pull
toes.
up to try to open it up, So, um, and I think this was Anthony Edwards' worst night you're gonna get from him. That's how I feel. Like the same way you're saying that this is LeBron James is gonna be his worst game. I don't know about that because LeBron James played pretty stereotypical for LeBron James. Yeah, he didn't score as much, but he had under 20. He had under 20 attempts. So he had 19 points for his this year. He he didn't get his average because he's been averaging 25 points a year every year his whole career, other than this year. So maybe
I think
age
he's
is
like 23.
it's 24. I think it's 24.2 is what
Mm-hmm.
his average was this year. Um, and maybe the age is catching up to him. Oh man, point 0.8 points. No, I don't really think so. But um, what I saw was a frustrated Luca. Like yes, he still got his 37. Yes, he still shot over 50%. Because he just torches Rudy Gobert. But the difference this time going around is what I was asking for last year. Is when Anthony Edwards or anybody sees Luka Doncic in front of them on the defensive side, you need to see barbecue chicken, and that's what Anthony Edwards did. Like every time, not just Anthony Edwards, every time down the court, they forced Luka to play defense, and they punished him for it. And it was very apparent. And maybe it didn't work out every time, but if he's exerting energy on the defensive side, he can't kickstart the offense. He's best at Olay and trying to get in getting the ball and getting in transition. That's where the Lakers will run the Timberwolves out of the gym, and the Timberwolves did not allow that to happen. They made him defend them so that way he couldn't get those rebounds or couldn't get in transition quick and get the ball up, and that's what happened this game. That's a difference. So if they continue to do that, I feel strongly about the Timberwolves beating the Lakers. I know I'm the only outlier here. I might be the only person other than Lamar Carroll to feel this way. And again, you could say maybe it's a homer thing, but I noticed some differences compared to last year to what we saw them do with Luka specifically. Um, and it was things that I'm like, you have to do that. Just like with the Joker, you have to make the Joker play defense. If you don't make him play defense, offense is going to just be so easy for him because he's not exerting energy on the defensive side of the ball. He's going to exert more energy defensively than he will offensively. Both of them will. So, because offense is so easy for them, they're uber talented guys. They're smart. They know how to get the ball in the right spot. They get to whatever spot they want. They're not the most athletically inclined guys, but they're big. They're bulky, and even though they're slow, they just know how to maneuver in a way to. They're not abnormal. Like they don't have to be set in a foundational shot to make a shot or set in a foundational dribble to make a pass out of nowhere. They both do that well, and that's what I feel that teams have to do against, really European players in general, but those two European players for sure. Attack them on the defensive side of the ball and make them work defensively, and it will affect their offense. And it did. We got a good amount of turnovers, and he was definitely frustrated in the sense of like he was like clasping his legs, and they scored. He was still like, it was affecting him a little bit. But yeah, he got a 37, almost a 40 piece. That's a normal game for Luka, especially in the playoffs. But he had to work for it though. He definitely worked for every one of very little of those shots were made easy at all. But he's Luka Doncic. I mean, that's like, again, Allen Iverson earned everything he got too. Nothing came easy for Allen Iverson, but he was still going to give you a 30 piece, 40 piece, a 40
Yeah,
50
and I
piece.
think I think that's a good point that you made about going at Luca. Obviously, that's kind of like everyone's game plan.
Yeah.
But I think I might have saw it just a little differently. I think yes, they were going at him, and I think he was getting frustrated is because they were over helping, and then they would
Yeah,
get
yeah.
open threes. That's where he was getting frustrated. He's
Sure.
like, don't if they're gonna go get a layup, let them get a layup. You guys keep over helping, and they're getting these open threes.
Yep.
Like it is what it is if they go to the
But
rim
people
and,
are
and
so
somebody contests them.
inclined to, because they want to stop the bleeding, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
and that is a big.
Because he,
That's
he
actually a
he
good
was
call,
making
great
he
call
was
out.
making people counter. He was making people do double counters.
Yep, yep.
Like multiple times,
He was
Ant was going at him.
it wasn't. Yeah,
Ant had to do two, three
no,
counters. It wasn't like a straight line.
no.
So he's like, look, I'm at least making them do 2 or 3 counters.
Yep.
There's no reason for you guys to be over helping.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing enough where you guys should be in a position that you don't need to over help. Because even towards that, I think it was in that when Ant came back.
Yep. He came down and made the three,
Ant
and then
came
the next
back.
one he passed it out. Yep. Yeah,
Hmm
I know what you're talking
And Vanderbilt came down and
about.
Nasri got an open three and he was like, what are you doing? Like, why are you helping me? Like, he actually locked Ant up on that possession.
Yeah.
And he's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you over helping? And even on the possession where Ant does the gun shooting at him
Yeah, yeah.
on the initial possession, he stopped Ant.
Yeah.
And Ant just had to reset and he just, shot it over him because Luka took a step back.
Yeah.
But like there is possessions where he's like, okay, look, I'm gonna get in this defensive position regardless if I get beat.
Yep.
I'm not gonna let them get a straight
But
line
that's what you
drive.
want. That as far as that's helping Minnesota. If because again, because he's locked in, he's easier to box out. He's easier to find. So they're not going to get those transition. It's going to be limited. He's still going to get those because again, you have LeBron James and Luka who are great outlet passers, great outlet runners. So they're going to find a way to get him. But it makes the job easier when you're able to find him when the ball's in the air, and you're able to get hands on him. You're able to slow it down or prevent him from getting one of those quick rebounds, and then he gets the ball up the field. Like he passes it, then it's a kind of a give and go in the open court, and then now all of a sudden you have a disadvantage on the defense on your defensive side, and it makes when you have one of the greatest offensive talents we've ever seen, along with one of the greatest players we've ever seen in LeBron James. It's going to make their job so much easier if they could get those transition game, and that's what
He's
they
a
limited.
transition bucket.
They definitely limited to transition, and that helped. And we have to see it. Like the concept is there. We have to see it for games 2 through how many ever games through this series we're going to get.
Yeah, because there's gonna be adjustments.
It's going to be
Each team
adjustments.
is gonna have to make adjustments.
Absolutely, and I think I said DiVincenzo definitely doesn't need to get 13 points, but he made big shots when it mattered. He made big defensive plays. Really, that's where you want him to be. Like, yeah, he get a few points here and there. He gets over 13. That's
A bonus.
That's a bonus. But rebounding, getting assists, getting tips,
Defensive
getting
stops.
steals, or just completely getting really
Disrupting.
good contested, disruptions, getting really good contested shots. He and we saw it but your X factor, and even Dad. When I talked to Dad, because I talked to Dad Friday, so he was like, "Man, that boy AR-15 is legit." I said, "Yeah, he real," but he gotta prove it in the playoffs. You can't go 1 for 8 until the fourth quarter, or the second half of the third quarter.
Yeah, it was the fourth quarter because he scored 14 of his 16 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, so if he scored 14 of his 16,
Which is solid. Which is solid. You get 4 if you give me
14 in the fourth quarter was nice,
in a fourth in a
but
closer
you're already
game.
getting blown out. You know what I'm saying? You
That's
can't
that's the problem.
you
Too
can't be
late.
1 for 7 at halftime. That's what he was, 1 for 7 at halftime. And but another thing I'll call out too is the Lakers didn't get a foul called against them until 3 minutes left into the second quarter.
They weren't playing physical enough though. Like it wasn't even that they were really. There's probably like one or two that I'd be like, okay, they probably should have called a foul, but a lot of that was they weren't playing physical
Sure.
enough. Like they weren't really,
And how often is
sending a
that going to
message.
continue to happen? Because now Finch is going to be like, look, we didn't get any foul calls until we played a physical with these guys. Like until we attacked them, we didn't get foul calls. So stop expecting some foul
But
calls
that's
because
also
we're
not
not.
Minnesota. Minnesota wants to shoot threes though.
Yeah, I
Like
mean, like I
they're
said,
kind of new
they led the
style. They
league
want to
this
shoot
year
threes.
in threes made and 3-point percentage, and to lead that charge was Anthony Edwards. I mean, he was the
Yeah.
leading 3-point maker this year. I don't know if he led on percentages,
But the amount
but
that
the
he
amount he
made,
made the most threes this season. Yeah, or no, yeah, second most because Steph Curry had 4.4, but that's a huge jump up for him anyway to be in the top two behind the greatest shooter of all time. Um, 3-point. Let's see, 3-point made, 3-point percentage. I just want to see percentage real quick. Yeah. So he was. Let's see. Find. Oops. Edwards. So he's top 50 in 3-pointers percentage. Which I mean, when there's 400 plus players, you're still in the top echelon of the league. So when you're in the
yeah,
top,
and with the clip, with the amount that he
the amount
shoots
he's shooting,
is going to be different than probably about another 50% of that list. He probably shoots. Probably he's probably in the top, you know,
yeah, because
90th percentile or whatever for
because
attempts.
yeah, because Steph Curry shot 39.7 and he shot 39.5, and they're number one and number two in threes made this season. So they were shooting they were number one and number two in attempts, and then number three was Jason Tatum. So everyone else outside of like from four down shot 9 or less. They're the only three that shot 10 or more, with Steph being really the only one that shot more at 11.2. So, and they both are 5% better shooters than Jason Tatum was, which is it's huge in the 3-point game, you know. So, hopefully, you know, if it works in my favor, hopefully we get a bunch more blowouts in favor of Minnesota. But there was definitely some things that I liked compared to last year on how they played Luka. And he's gonna get his. Like I never said that Luka wasn't gonna be like. Again, the greatest scorers this game has ever seen are always gonna get this. Yeah, will they have a bad game? Sure.
Here and there, yeah.
Here and there. I mean, but they might have an off night. They still might get 30. I mean, MJ would still get. He averaged 30 for his career, and there was times where he shot like 20%,
Like
30,
20, 30%.
30%, but he still got his 30. You know, and you know the Jordan stoppers out there. Then all of a sudden, the next game because he took it personal, he goes crazy and shoots his above average from the field. So, but you're gonna get that from the greatest scorers. And the
And Luca
greatest
has that
athletes.
where if he plays bad one game, the next game, like you take the over.
You
Like
take the over
to
for
take the
sure.
over.
He
If he
had
plays a bad
25 and
game,
he's supposed to have 31. The next game he gonna have that. He gonna about 40.
40 something.
He gonna have 40.
About 40
You know,
triple double, he gonna go crazy.
for sure. But it was good. It was a good first night. I'm excited for tomorrow's games as well, because we get to see the young the YN in Memphis versus the Thunder. Orlando, Boston, Miami, Cleveland, and Golden State, Houston. Which Golden State, the outside of our respective series that we're like, we have our opposing teams. There's 3 series that definitely I'm looking forward to. 4 actually. If Orlando plays how they played in the play-in, that's going to make for a great series against Boston because they are big enough to guard and match up well with Boston. But Golden State, Houston, it's going to really be between Golden State and Houston and Clippers, Denver for the round 1 series. In my
The
mind.
best one.
Yeah, who had the best series, and then Milwaukee and Detroit, Milwaukee and Indiana, Detroit, and the Knicks are probably my 3rd and 4th. Like these series, I look forward to watching.
A little tier below, yeah.
Yeah, but they're just like a tier below. Actually, the Detroit Knicks might be the third tier of that. The tier 2 would be that Milwaukee, Indiana, especially with if Dame comes back, just because of the rivalry that's there. But I'm very excited about that game tomorrow. But I mean, leave it to our stuff. Jabron being a Warriors guy. All our games are the ones that end of the night. So they're gonna continue to end the night. But yeah, tomorrow should have some pretty good games. Hopefully, I hope for sure. I think OKC probably dog walks in Memphis. But I'm hoping that Orlando finds their offense, or finds a way to slow down Boston enough where it's a gritty game, and then that
Orlando
becomes
just needs to win 2 games.
yeah,
They just need to win 2 games.
yeah,
They can get 2 games. They just, for 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 anyone to win the finals, because Celtics are definitely the favorite.
yeah.
For anyone to win, each team that plays the Celtics in the Eastern Conference needs to win 2 games and just extend the series. They just need to extend the
For
series.
sure, for sure.
Because I think because they can end up losing to the Cavs. Like it is a possibility.
Yeah.
Like if they meet together, because the Cavs have the easier side, so if the Cavs can just five games, 4 games, because I think they're gonna just the Heat. I think they're gonna get them out of there. I think it's gonna be a sweep on the Heat. Like they're gonna get them out of there.
Yeah.
So it'll be four games there. The next series they do 5 games. If the Celtics go 6-6, they're gonna be a little bit more leg heavy, and then they run into that
And the
Cavs
Cavs are gonna
who
have a
kind of
tough
match up with
time
them.
if Dame comes back and they can win that series, because that pre Dame in blood clot situation, the Bucks were the 3 seed. They definitely were. They were a
Well, they
favorite.
made it after All Star.
Yep.
They kind of turned their season. They started to turn their season around.
Mm-hmm.
Pre All Star was
I
horrendous,
mean, even
but
though they
post
won
All
the they
Star,
won the they won the in season tournament situation, but
yeah,
uh,
that was before All Star though,
that
right?
was before All Star, and then they kind of
Mm-hmm.
had some hiccups here, like for a good chunk, and then just went crazy, and then Dame got hurt, and then they had
Yep.
a lull period again, and then went crazy again towards the end of the season.
Yep.
So, but KPJ's definitely got to be better than what he was for sure. But that's your. I definitely think that they're better than healthy, all across the board. Healthy, the Bucks are easy 3 seed in my opinion in the East. So I think that's why we all did lean that way with Dame, but it came down to when Dame came back and what the series looked like when Dame was back. So no team has ever gone. He's got to come back at least for Game 3. He's definitely got to come back for Game 3. Because if he doesn't and they do lose Game 2 and 3, that series is over because no team has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit. So
That was just kind of just out there, but mentioning 3 seeds, the 76ers. They're supposed to. I think everybody predicted them to be the 3 seed to start the season.
not me. You know why? Because I have no
Like,
faith in Joel Embiid to be
oh,
here.
goodness
And
gracious.
then Paul George just, I don't know, fell apart. His body just fell apart on him this year.
They just fell apart.
Yeah. So
That whole team fell apart. Everybody got injured.
yeah,
Ugh, what a. They should have been a 3 or 4 seed. The fact that they're not even in the playoffs is crazy.
the fact that
Crazy.
Luka Doncic got traded before Joel Embiid did is really diabolical. Actually, like Luka
This
Doncic
man been in
being
the
traded
this
was
man been in the
on no
process
one's
for 7 years.
card. No one's bingo card. Luka getting traded was on no one's bingo card. So
Even before Trey Young. Trey Young supposed to
he's
been
been out of
traded
there
out
too.
of
Yeah, Trey Young was
Atlanta.
supposed to be out
Like,
of there.
he was supposed to go to the Spurs. All of a sudden,
Zion hadn't been
Darren Fox
traded
is
yet
over there.
either. Zion was supposed to get traded. And Luka,
Crazy.
that was a shit. The aliens have really came and took over. I know the government acknowledges that the aliens exist, but Jesus, who saw this coming?
And I always knew that man. What's his name?
Nico
What's
Harrison?
her commissioner name?
Oh
No, what's
no,
the commissioner name?
Adam Silver.
I would say look like that sound like a alien
It
name.
sounds like
Adam
alien,
Silver.
generic
He looked
alien
like an
name.
alien too. I knew it. I knew
Yeah,
it.
yeah, but we'll see. I mean, hey, I will say this: if if the Lakers lose in round 1, it's just gonna allow Nico Harrison, who has been the biggest fumbler in existence of basketball. He fumbled the pitch for Nike for Steph Curry. I don't know if you knew this or not. I'm just gonna read through it.
Yep.
He fumbled that. He fumbled Jalen Brunson in free agency, allowed him to go to free agency, go to become a Knick. He fumbled. There's one more I'm missing here. I can't remember what it was, but there's a fourth one. But the big one, the big one, is trading Luka. But if they lose in the first series, this motherfucker's gonna come out and be like, "I told you so." Defense wins championships. It's like that's not like yes, defense definitely wins championships. But the object of the game is to put the basketball, and there's very few people in the league that do it better. I mean,
He looked like I told you so, nigga.
Luka playoff wise is number 2 all time in points per game,
Yeah,
behind the GOAT.
he's that man.
He's that man
In the playoffs.
So for you, and I don't like Luka. Like I respect it. I just don't like the whininess. I think you're too talented to be crying the way that you cry.
Which I think he did good today. He did good
Definitely
today.
did good today, for sure.
He did good today.
I'll
He
acknowledge
wasn't.
that.
I didn't even really notice him talking to the refs like that too much at all today. I think he did get. I think LeBron was more reffing.
I think that was a superbly reffed game, the Lakers versus the Timberwolves today.
Yeah, they let them be physical enough.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any really like bad calls. Obviously, there's going to be missed calls here and there from both sides, but altogether, I think it was.
It was the best ref game today,
fairly rough.
for sure.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, it's just because all the rest of them were awful. That one truly was really, as a basketball
that should be
player,
the standard.
That should be a standard. I love that game. They're humans. They're going to miss calls. They're going to make the wrong call. I am not a fan of, hey, I made a wrong call, so on the other side, I'm going to make another bad call.
Let me give you a call.
To even it up.
Yeah.
No, like, you made a bad call. You
Just
acknowledge
wash
it.
it out.
Say, hey, I missed it. When I see some stuff, I'll be a little more open to it, but I'm not going to make another bad call in your favor just to
give you a call.
out. No, but it was a well officiated game, for what it was. So that, I think we can end it there. This was a great night for me, more specifically. I know you're of the ilk like, hey, I was expecting them to lose game 1 anyway.
Yeah.
So you're.
I just wanted my boy to get the 35. That's what I was. I wanted him to get his 35. See the ball going. See the ball going in the net, just so he knows, like, oh, these who y'all thought could guard me again. All right, I'm on. Let me show y'all.
They made it tough. It was a tough 37. It wasn't an easy.
Wasn't tough enough. Man he shot over 50%. It wasn't tough enough. 12 for 22 wasn't tough enough.
It wasn't a lot of threes though. It was a lot of.
He was 5 for 10 from the 3, so he was 50%. Yeah. He was out here.
He was out there.
He was out there.
But he shot 22 shots. So
which I want him to shoot 22 shots.
Yeah.
I want him to shoot most of the shots because my biggest gripe. It was 22, I think. 12, 20, something like that. But my biggest gripe in that whole thing, like I said, was that stretch where he came out of the game, and even when he came back in the game. When he first came back in the game in the second quarter,
he was a nothing burger though.
He didn't touch the ball for 5 straight. He didn't even touch the ball for 5 straight possessions. That was 3 possessions in a row where LeBron thought he was gonna lay it up on 7 people. That same little right hand.
Damn. The fans was out there. The coach was out there. 7 people.
He was the same. He did it 3 times in a row. The same shot.
That's LeBron James for you. That's someone's king, man. That's someone's dad. Don't talk about LeBron James like that. That's someone's dad,
you got
bro.
Luka on the floor. You can't go 3 possessions without him touching the ball. But to go 5 straight possessions with him touching the ball, and to go 6 possessions without him even shooting, nah, I'm not. 5 straight, literally, as soon as he came on the court, 5 straight possessions, he did not touch the ball. It was LeBron James, 3 of those shots. I think AR took 1 of those shots. And I think Finney missed all misses. They were all misses. Ain't nobody scored. 5 straight possessions missed.
I love it. I love to see it. Hopefully we see more of it. And hopefully it's 10 straight possessions. But all right, again, before we close it out.
He shot 22. They both shot 22 shots.
Yeah.
And Luka.
But you're talking about the second greatest player of all time in LeBron James. So he's got to get his 22 as well. But
He got 18.
You know, he's got to get his situation. You know what I'm saying?
That's more than enough. He really needs 15. He needs to go 10
He's
for
15.
15.
I'm lowering you down to a role player role for this series.
15.
No,
Let AR get 18.
no,
Jesus.
AR doesn't need. He clearly didn't need 18. He didn't need the 13 he got today. He 1 for 7 first half. He had 6 shots going into the second half. He 1 for
But I
7.
think because he was thrown off. He was thrown off that LeBron took that many shots because that's normally not how it goes.
So you're gonna
LeBron
blame
normally
LeBron
plays that
James for
like
that one. Damn. The ultimate Bron
you know
James
I'm
hater
blaming
is here, folks. You thought it was
I'm
me.
blaming him for that. You know I'm blaming him for that because it was clear. Like you didn't do this all season, or at least you didn't do this from the second half of the season when Luca came. You more played that like third pseudo second third option. How you gonna start thinking you just a straight second
He's
option
LeBron
in
James,
game
bud.
one?
He's LeBron
You can't
James.
just do that. And
He
that's
can do what
what
he
threw
want.
off the
He's the
rhythm.
all-time leading
It
scorer.
threw it threw off the rhythm of the team because everybody was like, "Wait,
But he's the
when
second.
did you
He's some
when
people's
when did
GOAT,
you start
man.
taking
He's some
when
people's
did you
GOAT.
start taking 4 straight shots with nobody else touching the ball? When did this start happening? Like it threw off
Forever
the whole
ago.
rhythm.
Look,
AR
you're
was like,
unfamiliar with his game. He's been doing this since.
no, I'm talking about since Luca. I know he's been doing this. I'm talking about since Luca. Everybody was throwing. Even Luca was looking around like, hold on now, I got
It's
16
not the
points in the
Luca
first quarter.
Lakers, brother. It's the
It's the
LeBron
Los Angeles
Lakers.
Lucas, and they need to understand it's the Los Angeles Lucas. LAL.
LA.
Los Angeles Lucas. He needs to know it's Luke. His jersey does not say Lakers. It says
It
Lucas.
says Lucas,
Lukas.
uh,
Serbia,
yeah, yeah.
Slovenia,
There's gonna be a lot
Russia.
of LeBron. See,
That
again,
whole side of the world.
normally the LeBron fans come at me, but they coming for your neck in these comments. So
Bring them.
again, shout out
Motherfucker,
shirt
we
before we go to make sure we get it. We finally get it right. It's L3RD.TV at YouTube. Instagram, right? Too. You got an Instagram too, or is it just
Yeah,
YouTube?
L3RD TV on YouTube, L3RD TV on Instagram. Many more things coming from my channel. A lot of I'm a big Real Madrid fan, big soccer football fan. So I talk a lot about that. I talk about anime. I'm gonna be getting into fashion soon. I'm in the fashion scene. The hat you guys have seen me wear. I created that hat. That'll be for sale shortly. That's getting the sample process. And this is not merchandise. I'm not a merch. I'm a real designer. Okay, real fashion streetwear designer. So I got a fashion line, not no merch. I'm not a loser. Okay, so a lot of stuff over there. So definitely feel free to drop in on the channel if you know fashion, anime. Obviously, I talk basketball, soccer, any of that interests you. Feel free to drop in and check the channel out. And then I'm always a reoccurring guest whenever the bro or Kozo needs me. I pop up when I pop up.
All right, Ignorant Take Podcast. Uh, y'all know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, share. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. We are out, and Brian and I will probably be here tomorrow for day one of the rest of those games, or day 2 of the playoffs, but the rest of the series. So we'll see y'all. Good night.